Hello and welcome to Daily Current Affairs video. This is Pritam's perspective and the date is 5th August 2019. So let's begin. The 67th edition of Nehru Trophy boat race has been scheduled in Alappuzha district of Kerala. So it's very famous because Nehru Cup it is associated with two sports. If it is Nehru Cup, it is football, and if it is Nehru Trophy, it is related to the boat race. This particular boat race, which is held every year in Alappuzha district of Kerala, is very famous because it features this iconic design of snake boats, the boats made of wood which have a sculpture of a snake, and it's very famous. It draws huge number of tourists to the state of Kerala. So it is held every year in Poonawalla Lake. Something we have to remember: Poonawalla Lake in Alappuzha district of Kerala. The district Alappuzha was formerly known as Aleppi, but now it is known as Alappuzha. And one more important thing about that, that is this city, the beach of Alappuzha, hosts an iconic lighthouse of 19th century. So it was built long back in 19th century. As we all know, lighthouses are nothing but the structures which sort of guide the navigators towards the beach or towards the shore of the sea. So this iconic 19th century lighthouse is located in Alappuzha district, and this is where the Nehru Trophy boat race is held every year, and this is 67th edition of it. So similarly, yesterday Rajasthan government has tabled a new bill. The bill is called as Rajasthan Protection from Lynching Bill 2019. This is very important from the present context because see, we know that from the past few years there is a big issue about lynching going on in the nation. Lynching means nothing but spontaneous or a pre-planned murder of a person based upon his maybe religion or orientation or a place of birth, ethnicity, a lot of other things by a mob. So if mob is nothing but a group of either two or more people. So if two or more people spontaneously or suddenly or even pre-planned, if they attacks a person and murders him because of these reasons, his religion, his food habits, his dietary habits, or his place of birth, or his language, or any other thing like this, out of discrimination, then it is called as lynching. So this particular thing has been happening in the nation for the past few years. In that context, this particular bill being passed by Rajasthan Assembly is very very important. And see, this bill draws the recommendations from the apex court, from the Supreme Court. There was a case in Supreme Court recently between Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla is a famous activist. He is a political ideologue and a lawyer himself. He had filed a case in the Supreme Court. So the case is known as Tehseen Poonawalla versus Union of India case. This case is related to the lynching in the country. So in this case, Supreme Court gave out some recommendations, and based upon that, those recommendations, the state of Rajasthan has tabled the bill called as Rajasthan Protection from Lynching Bill 2019. Very very important. And also the currently the Chief Minister of Rajasthan is Ashok Gehlot, and the Deputy Chief Minister is Sachin Pilot. They have a Congress government over there, so very important. And if this hasn't been passed yet, it is just proposed. If this particular bill gets passed in Rajasthan Assembly, the Rajasthan state will become second state in the country after Manipur to pass a specific, a dedicated bill against lynching. So now we know everything about lynching and the bill being passed by Rajasthan. We should also remember that Manipur has already passed a similar bill. So it is the first state in the country to pass something like that, a dedicated bill against lynching. So we are supposed to remember all these things. Rajasthan Protection from Lynching Bill 2019. Similarly, see, we all know that since some time, since April to be specific, there is a big crisis going on in the country of Sudan. So now what happened is the ruling military council of Sudan has come into an agreement with the civilian leadership, which is pro-democratic regarding the future of the country. Remember in the April of this year, the military of Sudan had overthrown the sitting autocratic ruler, sort of dictator, Al Bashir. His name is Al Bashir. He was ruling the country from the past 30 years for the past 3 decades, and he was autocrat. He was not democratically elected, and he was facing a lot of opposition from the civilians of Sudan. So in the month April, military of the Sudan overthrew the incumbent president, the autocratic ruler Al Bashir, and it had established its own rule, military council rule in the country. So now again, protesters protested against military because it is not elected by the people. Even it is undemocratic. So people protested against it, and now the chief of the military council has signed an agreement with the civilians, with the pro-democratic movement to regarding the future of the country. So according to this agreement, the joint military and the civilian council will rule the country for the next 3 years until the new elections comes. So the purely military rule will be put down, and instead of that, a joint military come civilian council will rule the country, and elections will be held in 3 years after the situation normalizes. And after 3 years, a democratically elected government will start governing the country of Sudan. Very important, we have to remember. And also we are supposed to remember the name of Omar Al Bashir, who was overthrown by the military in the month April of this year. Omar Al Bashir, very important. And similarly, since the country is in news currently, we are required to learn about it a little bit more. And Sudan's capital is Khartoum. Khartoum, Khartoum. Khartoum is the Khartoum. It's Khartoum. Khartoum is the capital of Sudan. As we all know, Sudan is a third world country located in Africa, and it is currently experiencing a huge crisis after the ouster of Omar Al Bashir from the military council. Now there is a peculiar interesting fact about Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. That is, this Khartoum city is located in the confluence of White Nile and Blue Nile. Remember, these two are very, very important because these two are the tributaries of Nile River, which flows in Africa continent and which is the longest river in the world. So White Nile and Blue Nile are the biggest tributaries of Nile River, and these two rivers confluence at the city of Khartoum in Sudan. So Khartoum is the capital of Sudan, and it is very famous because it is the point of confluence between the White Nile and the Blue Nile rivers. And regarding Blue Nile and White Nile, they're very important. Blue Nile originates in the country of Ethiopia, again an African country. So Ethiopia is the country where Blue Nile River originates. And as far as White Nile is concerned, it originates in South Sudan. Remember, South Sudan is a separate country. It is in fact the youngest country in the world currently. It got independence from the Sudan in 2011. So it is the youngest country. We are required to remember about it also. So South Sudan is the youngest country, and South Sudan's capital is Juba, Juba. And South Sudan is the place where White Nile originates. So these two confluence at Khartoum in Sudan. Similarly, yesterday being Sunday, Hungary GP was scheduled yesterday. There is Hungarian Grand Prix, which is a motorsport in Formula One racing. Important. I think I discussed about it in the last week also. Last week we had German Grand Prix, and this week we have Hungarian Grand Prix. It is won by the veteran Lewis Hamilton, who belongs to the Mercedes team. So he won it. In the last German Grand Prix, that particular one was won by Max Verstappen, who is a rookie new driver, and this one is won by Lewis Hamilton, who belongs to Britain. He is an English driver. And similarly, one more big news as far as the sports in India is concerned. Yesterday, Satwiksairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty, or you can just remember as Satwikreddy and Chirag Shetty. These two plays for India in men's doubles, and these two have scripted a history yesterday by defeating Chinese and winning the first ever men's doubles BWF Super Series for India. BWF is nothing but Badminton World Federation. So they conduct a long tournament called as Super Series, and these two became the first Indian men in doubles category to win that title in BWF Super Series. And this happened in Bangkok, Thailand Badminton Open. So as we know, Bangkok is the capital of Thailand, and Satwiksairaj and Chirag Shetty became first Indian men doubles players to win this particular title. Very important if you have to remember it. Thailand Badminton Open happened in Bangkok. And these two players are respectively from Andhra Pradesh. Satwiksairaj is from Andhra Pradesh and Chirag Shetty is from Maharashtra, Mumbai. Sorry. Similarly, yesterday, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has taken an important decision, and they have approved NBS. What do you mean by NBS? NBS is nutrient-based subsidy. NBS, nutrient-based subsidy. So it's very important, and this has been extended to P and K fertilizers. So P and K is nothing but phosphatic and potassic fertilizers. P and K, the fertilizers which contains phosphate as well as potassium are called as P and K fertilizers. So yesterday, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved a nutrient-based subsidy NBS for these category of fertilizers. But urea does not come under this, because urea is a most widely used, most extensively used fertilizer in India. But it belongs to the category of nitrogen. It contains nitrogen. So this NBS has been extended only to P and K, phosphatic and the potassic fertilizers. Since urea does not contain these, it is a nitrogenous fertilizer. It will not come under NBS. So what exactly is NBS? See, a nutrient-based subsidy is nothing but what the government does is every year in the beginning of the sowing season, they will fix an amount of subsidy to each fertilizers, but based upon their gradient, based upon the quantity of particular nutrient used. So this is something the government is planning afresh. So we have to remember this also. NBS, nutrient-based subsidy. This is regarding fertilizers, that is P and K fertilizers, phosphatic and potassic. Similarly, see, we all know that currently India is using BS4 engines, that is Bharat Stage 4 engines currently, but the country has decided to skip BS5 and directly leapfrog to BS6 engines. So this will come into effect from 1st April 2020, that is by next year. All the vehicles in India, all the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, as well as the construction equipment vehicles will have to use the BS6 engines. So they have to comply with the BS6 norms. This is very important. This will come to effect from 1st April of 2020. See, the reason why India is jumping or leapfrogging the BS5 is because we are lagging behind currently. Because European standards, EU, European engines, they are much ahead in terms of specifications than us, European 5, EU 5. So we are trying to catch up with them. Even China is much ahead of us. So we are trying to catch up with them. So we have decided to skip BS5 and directly implement BS6 from the next year. There is a big difference. See, the basic difference between these stages, Bharat stages, the pollution. The reason why government is implementing is to curb the pollution, the amount of pollution in the country. So BS5, BS6 is much different from BS4, but the basic and most important difference between these two engines is the emission of sulfur. Remember, sulfur is a gas which contributes to acid rain. So India is trying to curb it. So in BS6 engines compared to BS4, it will have 80% of less sulfur emission. So it's very good step. Sulfur, it won't come in the elemental form. It will be emitted in the form of SO2, sulfur dioxide. So that emission of sulfur dioxide in the BS6 engines will be 80% less than that of BS4. Very good step. And also there are some other differences, such as nitrogen oxide NO2. See, nitrogen oxide, not necessarily NO2, it could be NO2, NO3, a lot of different combinations are there. So nitrogen oxide will also be reduced in BS6 engines as compared to BS4. So importantly, in case of diesel vehicles, the emission of nitrogen oxide will be reduced by 70%. And as far as the petrol engines are concerned, the emission of nitrogen oxide will be reduced by 25%. Very important. So we are basically, the big difference between the BS4 and BS6 engines is regarding the emission of sulfur and regarding the emission of nitrogen oxide. So this will definitely go a long way in ensuring cleaner engines and efficient engines with a very less amount of pollution. So with this, I would conclude today's current affairs video, and I will meet you guys tomorrow with tomorrow's news. And if you haven't subscribed to Pritham's Perspective yet, please do subscribe to it, and I will see you every day with current affairs. Thanks for watching the video. See you on the flip side.